All right, welcome back to the M-Cube Network. This is Will Hemme, and I'm bringing you a article here. As you can see, this article is titled, "After driving 2,500 kilometers in an electric car, they reached an irrefutable conclusion: diesel is still king of the road." Now, I have just come from watching auto auction rebuilds. They did a little road trip in the car, about 700 miles, in the new Dodge Charger EV, and it was hair-raising. It was a hair-raising adventure, to say the least. Basically, the trip consisted of fuel charging station to fuel charging station, and then eventually you get where you were trying to go. They had to stop about 4 or 5 times. Each time they stopped, they were not using a Tesla network charger, so they ran into huge problems, and it seems to mirror this article here. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. We got a group of Spanish journalists drove 2,500 kilometers across Europe. Now that's, in our terms, that's 1,530, 40, 50 miles, right? That's about the distance from Phoenix to Atlanta. Okay, you got a picture in your head there. That's dang near a cross-country journey, almost a cross-country journey in the United States, right? So Phoenix to Atlanta in a bunch of EVs. Now, what they discovered about electric versus diesel vehicles might surprise you. The journey raised unexpected challenges, from cost to charging delays. That's almost exactly the same thing that auto auction rebuilds went through. All right. When a group of Spanish journalists embarked on a 2,500 kilometer journey across Europe, their mission seemed clear: test the viability of electric cars on long distance trips. But after their trek from Berlin to Madrid, the team returned with an unexpected conclusion. The future of electric cars, it seems, is not quite ready to dethrone the traditional vehicles for those in search of a cost-effective, practical option on the road. Now, this is something I've always known. I mean, I am a trucker. I have a big rig myself, and I drive daily on diesel fuel. And I'm no stranger to the highway and cars or trucks. And an EV is a limiting factor. Your ability to do a road trip, to travel in any meaningful way, is only hindered by these cars. I mean, it's just not. It's a shame that Europe is still going to force these things on everybody. And I mean, it seems to me that the whole purpose of these electric car mandates around the world is not to save gas or save you money. It is to limit your mobility overall. Governments like your mobility limited because they like to. Big governments, authoritarian governments, like to control everything that goes on in their area, in their country, in their districts. They like to control everything, and people that have way too much freedom to move around as they please is not a good thing for them. They like to kind of keep you locked in, and the 15-minute city, all that stuff comes into mind. But anyway, let's just get back to it. The journey began in Berlin, where a group toured Tesla's Gigafactory. From there, they set out in 2 Tesla models: the Model Y long-range rear-wheel drive, which is the slowest one, and the Model 3 Highland, both with long-range versions designed for extended travel. The goal was to access how these electric vehicles stacked up against their diesel counterparts, particularly for long trips. The team's route would take them through several European countries, ultimately ending in Madrid. Now, these routes across Europe are not straight, so you're doing a lot of twists and turns. I mean, I think the Alps is probably part of the run, so you're gonna be mountains. It's real, lots of good driving. I mean, actually, Europe is a great place to drive on an open highway if you can afford it. Anyway, Madrid, offering opportunity to compare cost and practicality of electric versus diesel, right? Testing the real-world efficiency. The journalist's experiment was straightforward: drive the electric cars in the same distance as a typical long-distance road trip, while stopping every 200 to 300 kilometers, which is every 150 miles or so, for recharging. The trip allowed the team to experience firsthand the potential challenges of recharging an electric vehicle in real-world conditions. They primarily use Tesla's Supercharger network, which is great, which I understand it works good and it's great. If we had Teslas every 15 minutes like we have gas stations, these things might work. Okay. But also explored other public charging stations. As they went from one stop to the next, they were constantly evaluating the time spent charging and the cost of electricity at each stop. Electricity ain't free, y'all. It's not. And it's actually, when I was watching Auto Auction Rebuilds drive that 700 miles in that Dodge Charger EV, Daytona, they spent the same amount of money I spend to fill up a 392. Okay, there was no advantage to it. Plus, they had all kind of warnings and junk popping up on the dash. And then they had anxiety because they didn't know if they was going to make it to the next station because the one they were at then, there was no charger available. And oh God, next one's 50 miles away. It's just not practical at all. But anyway, despite the reliability of Tesla Superchargers, which provided a fast and efficient charging experience, the team found themselves in frequent discussion over the challenges of electric car users face. One major factor they couldn't ignore: the time spent waiting for vehicles to recharge was often far longer than the time it would take to fill up a diesel car at a fuel station. Yeah, duh, we know this. This was particularly evident as they navigated through areas where charging stations were sparse or less efficient. That's the thing. Now, when you're filling up a gas car or a diesel car, the speed of the pump really is never a factor, is never an issue, unless like maybe the diesel truck is there filling up or something, or just left and or not there yet, the filters are clogged and it runs kind of slow. That happens sometimes, but still, you're talking about the difference between 5 minutes and 7 minutes. So it's not super bad when you're dealing, but these electric charging stations, they all different, and they want to charge you in different ways, and they charge you different amounts, and it's just like getting gas, really. The cost of recharging, diesel's financial edge. When the journey came to an end, the team sat down and crunched the numbers. According to the data from the European Union's official fuel price reports, the costs associated with recharging the Teslas were significantly higher than refueling a diesel vehicle. Over the course of 2,500 kilometers, recharging the electric vehicles cost them £53 62 pence more than if they had refueled a comparable diesel car. This cost discrepancy grew even more when comparing the electric vehicles to a gasoline car, with the electric vehicles' total fuel costs exceeding the gasoline cars by 136 pounds, which I think today is probably about $136. I think we're pretty much even with the pounds, or is that euro? Shit, I don't know. Anyway, the study underscored a stark reality for electric car enthusiasts. While electric vehicles are often advertised as more affordable to fuel, long-distance trips could incur unexpected costs, particularly if charging options like Tesla Superchargers are used. The charging infrastructure. Now, while the cost of recharging was a concern, the type of charging infrastructure also played a significant role in the overall experience. Superchargers, known for the speed, are an expensive option. The journalists realized that opting for slower charging stations can reduce the overall cost of the trip, but it also means adding more time to the journey. Time is money, man. You switching one out for the other. It doesn't even matter. The infrastructure of charging stations across Europe remains a work in progress. While the fast charging options are becoming more widespread, they often come at a premium. This challenge becomes particularly apparent when traveling across countries with varying electricity prices. The team's findings suggested that for drivers to get the best value out of their electric cars, they may need to carefully strategize their charging stops, balancing speed, cost, and convenience. You got to do math. These are the word math problems you used to get in school. Now you see why you got them. This is why you need them for EVs. Diesel's practicality, speed, and convenience. Despite the higher fuel costs, the diesel vehicles proved to be far more practical for the long-distance journey. The speed of refueling with diesel far outpaced the recharging times of electric vehicles. This was a crucial advantage for the team, especially considering the nature of their trip. Diesel vehicles are widely available across Europe, and refueling stations are common. meaning the team could stop at any point during their journey and resume their journey without significant delays. Though electric vehicles may offer lower maintenance costs and environmental benefits in the long run, the immediate benefits of diesel vehicle speed and convenience were clear. The team noted that for long distance travel, diesel vehicles are likely to remain the preferred choice for most drivers in the foreseeable future, at least until charging infrastructure for electric vehicles becomes more widespread and efficient. Now, all I can tell you here is being a trucker and being on the road and knowing what it takes to keep going and the cost that you incur doing it. There is no way electric trucks are going to make diesel trucks obsolete. Now, states like California, they force you to have an EV if you go into the certain places. You know, they want the ports to be all EV trucks by a certain time, and eventually they're going to try to phase out diesel powered trucks in the state altogether. That's what they wanted to do. Now, of course, in light of recent events in Washington D.C., that may not ever happen, thank God, but diesel powered vehicles are great for the road. They are the most efficient. And why do I say that? Because EVs get worse mileage on the highway than they do going stop and go traffic in town. EVs are for in-town use. They are for short commutes where you just a little too far to walk, a little too far to ride a bike. You got stuff you want to carry. That's what EVs are for. If you run DoorDash all around town, yeah, get an EV. And like most of these EVs have regenerative braking, so you get a lot of your power back through the braking process. You know, stoplights and intersections, whatever, when you have to pull over and wait. But when you're on the road, an EV is steadily fighting the wind and not making up any power. So you actually don't do as well on the highway. So basically, EVs get less mileage on the highway. They charging stations are not there yet. We don't have them every 5 minutes. There's not enough of them. And the cost is still the same. You probably might even spend more fueling up an EV unless you buy a Tesla and get that free gas for so many years or whatever, you know what I mean? Some EV companies are offering that. I mean, even Dodge offers you a certain amount, like $600 worth of charging, but the prices are going the same way. Electricity costs the same as gas, it seems like. So you're losing all that advantage. And then you got a car that's basically a brain on wheels. You can't manipulate it. You can't fix anything that goes wrong. It's just a lot. I don't see how, like I said, it's a cool little alternative. You know what I mean? You want something really fast. You want something quiet. You want to be the tech geek of the year. Yeah, you want an EV. You can run that. You know, stay in town though. Don't go on the road in that car. I'm telling you, it's just not wise. I do see Teslas on the highway. And like I said, they got good charging networks, fine. But as for me and what I do, it will be strictly gas-powered vehicles on the road, on the highway. Anyway, that's it for now. And like I said, hit me on your right foot at all times, and we'll get back and we'll have another story as soon as one comes up. Thank you for watching.